Hello and welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube. Today we're basically going to be doing a video for Challenge with Horde. We're going to be showing you guys exactly how to build the best base you possibly can in Fortnite's new event, Challenge with Horde. We are very close to the birthday event that is running at this moment, but we're kind of redoing this video even though we have a video up for it already because of the fact that there's lots and lots of new players flowing in now that the game's half off. People want all the birthday stuff and all that good crap. They also want to farm those V-Bucks. So, we're kind of going to be explaining this in the simplest way possible, getting out as much detail as possible about the mode for people who haven't really played Save the World yet, because a lot of people are new here. But even if you have played Save the World for a while and you have experience, this will help you out a lot as well. And without further ado, let's get into it. So the very first thing that you guys will notice when spawning in is that there will be a flag and a console directly in front of you. You want to immediately go over to this console and access it. Go to your storage and press the corresponding button to withdraw all from your vault. You'll have your starting and beginning mats to start picking things up and building your base. So the first two sides that you land upon are the side that your flag's on. And because your flag is on this side, they will not attack from the left or from the right that your flag is on. They'll attack from the frontward facing sides, which I'll explain a little bit more in the future or further in this video. So you want to build these two sides out of wood, and then the other two sides, when you're building your stairs, you want to build these out of metal because the enemies will be attacking from these two sides a little bit more. Alright, then once you have all your stairwells, you want to build that little triangle I show here, where just the bottom three corners are taken away. For the metal stairwells, you want to do it on both sides. Build that out of stone on both sides, and then for the wooded ones you just want to do it out of wood so these guys cannot access it, but they won't really be attacking it either, so I wouldn't worry a ton about it. The next thing that you guys want to work on is just kind of upgrading all of this, just running around it, upgrading it all to the next level if you have this unlocked. Most of you guys watching this video will. If you do not, don't worry too much about it. It doesn't make a huge difference when you're in those lower level missions anyways, because you do have to be a certain point in the game in order to access this. So once you have that fully upgraded, that's your core. You want to make sure it's fully upgraded because it is your core. Without your core, you're kind of a little bit messed up. Okay, so next little bit of business is moving on and moving outwards from your core. You want to build directly underneath these two stairwells here out of stone. If you have the floor bounce trap, which I'm not sure if I have on this account or not because I never play on it, you want to build floor bounce traps here or here. If you do not, any sort of floor trap will work at all, just any one that you might or might not have. You want to be able to build whatever it is that you can, place it there, and then you want to focus on building a kind of wall here, this one out of stone, and then you kind of want to do a little bit of a stone wall here, and then ramps to kind of prevent the enemies from coming in, and then an extra layer of wall. You do not need to upgrade this. It'll just basically kind of set it up to where the enemies are going to take the path of least resistance, which will be to just kind of walk in through here, which you guys will see in a second. Build a wall out of stone here, and then this. You want to build this out of metal because you don't want them to be able to access it as easily. So you build that out of metal, and then you kind of do a little bit of wraparound just like before, and just kind of prevent them from getting in there. Now the reason why we're doing this is because we're having our own setup for a path of least resistance. The enemies will be coming from the front, mostly from here, and that means that you want to have kind of a path that they want to access into. Now I just realized I messed up a little bit here. You want to take that out actually, destroy this stairwell, destroy this wall, and just kind of build it there, and then boom, you're back to where you needed to be. And then you want these little corner walls so the enemies will kind of walk in through here, and then you throw off this wall here. So what you can do after you have your floor bounce traps here and here, you want to kind of fill this room out with as many traps as possible. You cannot put it on the side walls, but you can put it on the roof or the wall or the floor. For these, you kind of want to just have any damaging trap, preferably a slowing damaging trap, like regular floor spikes that aren't retractable, or gas traps on the ceiling. Those are your best two bets when it comes to stopping the enemies here. And then you want to, if you have the mats for it, you want to work on upgrading all of this stuff that I kind of showed you to build here, Especially these two walls here. These two walls here should be your top priority when it comes to upgrading this stuff. And then, just like we did with the other side, we kind of build this a little bit too close. So we want to turn that into that. And open up this area. And build that out of stone. And then, because we have a gap here, we want to do what we were supposed to do there. Here. And prevent them from coming in. And then if you do have this extra space, you want to throw stairwells there so that smashers will ignore it. And throw that wall there. Throw a corner wall here. Regular wall here. Ceiling here. And floor here. So same that you did with this side, you want to do with this side. Your two strongest materials are stone and metal. So you kind of want to flip between the two of those whenever you can. Make them as strong as possible wherever you can, and just kind of make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable with your defenses, because metal and stone are your two best bets at survival. And then the sides that you don't really think the enemy is going to come from, but just in case they wrap around for whatever reason, because the AI can be a little clunky at times, you want to kind of cover this up with wood. And if you have any spare wood after covering it around with wood, you want to run around, upgrade it to tier 3, so that they'll kind of ignore it a little bit more if the AI decides to be clunky and walk around. Or just kind of make it to where if they do walk around, at the very least, they'll have a little bit more trouble getting in. And that's where these ramps are here as well. Just to make it more troublesome for them. So once you have all that set up, you can use whatever floor traps, ceiling traps, whatever that you may have. Since there's only 2 true ceilings here, you only need about 2. So 1 there, and 1 here. And then wall traps. I don't believe I have any good wall traps on this account, but we'll just kind of craft as many of these as we can, since we don't have any more ceiling trap slots. Throw 1 here. Preferably, this would be your most important spot to throw a wall trap. And right here, because this is where they will be accessing the most. And then directly outside, if you have extra materials for it, preferably wall bounce traps if you are setting them up there, so that the enemies ignore it just a little bit more. And then because there's a curve here, they just kind of walk in here, bang, 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 triple explosion. Whatever's coming through there should be mostly dead at that point. If they're coming through here, bang, bang, or if coming through here, bang, bang. And then if you have your floor bounce traps, which I do not, you have them set up here, so if they do come back in, they get thrown back out into this, and they go bang again. Same with this side, they come in, they bounce off here, and they go bang again, and on top of it, they're getting hit by these ceiling zappers. So for the most part, that's what you guys want to do, but it's kind of preference here if you turn these triangles into walls here, but it means you have less access when it comes to running around, which may not be too important. So it's your choice. It's all about preference if you want to have that walled off and that walled off, so that, you know, you can just kind of go back and forth, or even turn these into doorways, so that if you do want to access it, there's not a wall here and kind of zombies can't bother getting in because you have them completely blocked off from it. So that's for the most part all that you want to have for these defenses, except for a roof. So if you're not playing as a ninja like I'm not playing as a ninja, I would just kind of build a stairwell up here to get onto the roof and kind of build it in yourself. This prevents lobbers and flingers both rather from just flinging or lobbing things in and dealing damage, even though they haven't actually blown through or gotten through your walls just yet. And then just if you have a little bit of extra mats, just kind of build a cone here just for the fun of it. I mean, it's the exact core, so I mean, if something gets flung on top of you, it also has to destroy this cone before getting in. Just a little bit of fun, I guess. And pretty much, guys, that's all that you have to need to know about building this base. We're going to do a little bit more information, though, on exactly what you want to worry about when coming into this mode. And for that, I'll be switching back to my other account. So when going into the Horde mode, you want to make sure that you have specific skills unlocked. If you go into the Horde, or rather, if you go into the skills section, you go down to the Horde skills section, there's a bunch of different skills that you want to worry about. When you first come in, if you're in Stonewood, you'll have only Tier 1 unlocked. Stonewood, well, Plankerton rather, you'll have Tier 2 unlocked. Canny Valley, you have Tier 3. And Twine, you have Tier 4 unlocked immediately. On the top half of your skill tree, this is pretty much when you're building your base and you're not actually in the mode itself, defending. So what this does is it basically levels up how many mats you can have, your horizontal plot expansion, and your vertical plot expansion, which just means that you can build your base wider or higher up. Vertical is the higher up, or taller bases, and horizontal is the wider or more outwardly built bases. Alright, so this kind of upgrades how many materials you get when starting out when just building your base, while on the bottom, it's the exact same thing, except it's more like ammunition, weapons, you know, that type of stuff for when you're in the actual mode and you're trying to craft your materials to try and survive against the zombies that are currently coming at you. And then if you move over to the right, kind of, you know, it's the exact same thing for Plankerton, Kenny, Twine. One of the number one things you need to worry about, though, is if you're in Stonewood, you're mostly going to be using guns anywhere from 20 to 38 if you're using legendaries. If you're in Plankerton, you're going to be using guns anywhere from, like, you know, Stonewood or up to, what, I believe they're 58s for Plankerton. And then for Kenny, it's anywhere from Stonewood to 82s. And Kenny, well, Twine rather, it's anything beforehand all the way up to 106s, potentially 130s if you get far in the skill tree enough to unlock 5-star mats. But until then, you'll mostly be using 106s, which I use anyways, even though I can upgrade to 130s in this mission. So what you want to focus on is having weapons of those specific levels, or traps of those specific levels, so that you're prepared for any sort of situation. So if you're in Stonewood, you don't want to upgrade your guns to 58s because you won't be able to use them because you wanted the materials for it. So you definitely want to stay below that threshold. You want to have different guns of different rarities, potentially even purple rarities, just to make sure that, like, if you don't have enough active power cells, you can use rotating gizmos. Plankerton, don't go past 58 because then you won't be able to craft your 82s more than likely. Canny, don't go past 82 because you might not be able to use your 106s more than likely. And Twine, you may or may not be able to use your 130s, so same scenario for you. Do not upgrade to 130s right off the bat, but make sure you still have some 106s as well. Same exact thing goes for traps, but for the most part, that's all the information you really need to know. Heroes, take them up to whatever level you want. They're perfect, whatever you want them to be. The higher the level, the better, to be 100% honest. A good bit of heroes that I like. Soldiers, I love UAH, or any reskin of her pretty much. So she's your best bet there. Constructors, there's a few different good ones that a lot of people like using. And then my favorite ninja, Dragon Scorch. I recommend using him if you're using a ninja. He has really good high damage dealing abilities. Outlanders, they don't really have a place in this event because there's no farming, so you don't need the pickaxe damage. So I would pretty much just ignore this class for the event mode. But that's, I feel, pretty much all the information you need to know other than this stuff in your backpack. You're not going to be able to carry your backpack items into missions in Challenge the Horde. Whatever's in here, you will not be able to use, so I don't recommend really farming for it. I recommend just kind of going into the mission and using whatever mats it gives you during that mission because you can't farm there. You can't use mats that you had previously or anything like that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a good bit from this, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
My hands steady, I feel ready, but my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning